What's up, guys? It's KB. Make sure you subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Click the bell icon down below so you don't miss a single video from us. And thanks for tuning in to another video from Underground Sports Philadelphia. Now let's get into it.
Philadelphia, baby, you're going to love it. Best sports fans in the world. Actually, the worst, but that's what makes them the best.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of Underground Sports Philadelphia, presented by the city of Vineland. I had the wrong layout up, so I just teased our guest on this episode that you all know about. But that is not Aaron Combs. That is Harrison. It's KB. It's episode 706 of the pod. It is an Eagles postseason preview edition. Say that 10 times fast. Of Underground Sports Philadelphia, including an awesome interview, which we'll talk about in just a second. But we're going to preview this Eagles matchup with the Cheeseheads. The Packers are coming to South Philly. And as I said on the episode that came out on Monday, we're going from Sao Paulo to South Philly, baby. It's a rematch of week one. Finally at home against the Packers. We'll get into everything going on with this team, including, what's that? What's that? Jalen Hurts practiced today? How is it possible? I didn't think it could ever happen. Jalen Hurts practiced, everybody. He practiced. Losers. You bozos.
I mean, you had to have seen it coming. Come on now. That man was gearing up for the playoffs. All this talk about him still being in a concussion protocol. Nah. He was just getting ready for the playoffs, getting his head right physically and mentally. You know, he's got some fire Instagram caption cooking up right now.
I'm so pumped up. I can't wait. We'll talk about it. We'll go around the NFL playoffs, kind of give our playoff predictions as well. And then, yes, we have an interview on this episode that came to fruition in less than a week. We talked about this guy on last week's episode, and then in less than a week, he's now a friend of the program. And I might be making my way to some Jersey Shore Blue Claws games to go watch the boy, new friend of the program, underground athlete, 2024 College World Series champion, Aaron Combs, new Phillies pitcher, joins me on the show. An awesome interview that everyone in Philly is going to love him. Genuinely, I said it on the episode, and after sitting down and having a conversation with him, Harrison, he gives me such big Orion Kerkering vibes mixed with like, he's like a Ryan Kerkering mixed with like a combo of Nick Castellanos and Bryce Harper's swagger.
Oh, hell yeah. That's
like
exactly what we need in our pitching core right now. Just someone who can pitch the lights out and then talk his smack while he's leaving
He's definitely somebody that I can see like moving through the ranks very quickly and like being somebody like Orion Kerkering who ends up on this team sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Young bull too. So
23. He's so much fun. The interview is amazing, and it's not the last time we will have Aaron on the show. Very pumped about that. But before we get into everything, make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI across the board. Just search Underground Sports Philadelphia on your social media platform of choice. Subscribe to the pod. Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts in audio form. Leave a 5-star review. It really does help the show continue to grow, helps more people find Underground Sports Philadelphia and our entire catalog of shows on the network. And subscribe to the Underground Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel, youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. We are currently so close to 900 subscribers. Let's get there. Let's make it happen this weekend. Let's get to 900. youtube.com/@Underground Sports Philadelphia. Leave a like on the video. Drop a comment in the comment section. Click the bell icon so you know whenever new videos go live. Let's get to 900 subscribers by the end of the weekend. Only like 14 more if you need to subscribe. It's so easy. A caveman could do it. Somebody said that once, right? This show is proudly presented by the city of Vineland, and the city of Vineland municipal calendar features city organized, city sponsored, and city affiliated events that are of public interest. The calendar, which is accessible at vinelandcity.org, is a good way for residents and visitors to build awareness, remain engaged with city government, and participate in local events. You can also follow the city of Vineland on social media via their Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, and YouTube pages. And through these tools, you can stay connected to the community and get important announcements about programs and services offered by the city. Find the New Jersey where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast.
I'm Mayor Anthony Finucci. If you're looking for the right location, think Vineland, New Jersey. Our pro-business approach is supported by financial incentives, workforce development programs, and other resources which can give your business a competitive edge. Whether you're starting a new business or expanding to new markets, our business environment, infrastructure, accessibility, and quality of life make Vineland an ideal location. More information about how we can help your business grow can be found at vinelandcity.org. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
Harrison, it's playoff game week, baby.
Yes, sir. We're so back. We knew it was coming from week 1 of the season, but now that it's official, let's ride. Let's ride.
The more the hours tick by and the more that I think about that there is a playoff game that will be going down in South Philly this weekend at Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday.
Well, that's a beautiful thing.
I want to run through a brick wall. Like, I'm going to be in South Philly on Saturday covering the Wings game for OTB and for Underground. The Flyers play later that night, and then the Eagles are going to be getting ready. It's going to be insane. I am just so pumped to just feel like that ether and the aura of the sports complex soak into my veins and just be so ready to run through a brick wall. I recorded OTB earlier on Wednesday when we're recording this. And if you don't know, our guy, he's like our assistant of creative direction here at the company. My guy, DJ, he's a Packers fan.
Oh.
He also picked his favorite NLL team last year. And this is all pending. If Detroit ever brings the Turbos back, he will default to the Detroit Turbos. But right now, he's a Calgary Roughnecks fan.
Oh, bad weekend right now.
Harrison, the Wings play the Roughnecks at the Wells Fargo Center on Saturday at 1 p.m., and then we play the Packers in the playoffs. I want to read you these texts that DJ and I exchanged earlier this week because it's quite hilarious. It's all fun and games, but it's ops week at the company.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
He texted me Monday at 11:47 a.m. I hope you know we got real beef this week. Laughing emoji. Go Pack, go next.
Oh.
To which I responded about 5 minutes later. I'm sorry. Who's this?
You got how'd you get the phone number?
And then I said, my phone automatically warns me if there's ops typing in my contacts list. Point emoji. It's ops week.
It's ops week.
And I need the boys to come through. And I respect DJ's Packers fandom. His cousin is Greg Jennings of Madden fame.
He put the team on his back. I got a broken leg.
But we need to.
Greg Jennings.
I gotta say, the only cheese we're eating this weekend, Harrison, is shredded.
Yeah, or melted on a cheesesteak.
Shredded to the gilt. Like, I want it so shredded. It's John Gruden talking about it as a shred.
Philadelphia cream cheese. Only acceptable answer right there.
Cream cheese heads only.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm so pumped for this game. Like,
oh, dude, I'm ready. Nick Sirianni better shave his head again just so we can get the full bald eagle experience.
I am so excited, and I love that the bozos and the nimrods and the dipshits and the talking head pundits have to go back to the well and find new talking points, because guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Jalen Hurts practiced today.
Oh, he's back. Come on. Did you really expect QB1 to be sitting out of the most important game of the season thus far? Nah. He's going to come out there. sling some piss missiles to A.J. Brown, sling some piss missiles to Devontae Smith, let Saquon do his thing, get a couple tush pushes over the goal line. Jalen's back, baby.
Jalen's back. Limited practice today. And I'm just so goddamn happy that everyone can be shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, the more and more I think about it, and I was talking with friend of the program and one of my good friends, James Seltzer,
Yes, sir.
host of the Go Birds podcast. We were talking and we both agreed that if this Eagles team is able to pull off what we all think they're capable of pulling off this year, they're going to be anointed and crowned the best Eagles team of all time.
I agree. I mean, that 2017 team was phenomenal. That 2022 team, phenomenal. 04, great team. But the way the Eagles have played this season, gone on the longest win streak in franchise history, absolute dominance out of every single facet of the team, a 2,000-yard rusher, receiving, it wasn't their fault. The run game was on fire this year, but they still did the job when it was necessary. A backup tight end for most of the season, and he did a phenomenal job. Our offensive line should have been the entire NFC Pro Bowl lineup. And
A.J. Brown still finished with 1,000-yard season, 7 touchdowns. Devontae Smith still had his over in touchdowns. They both missed games.
Yeah. The two contenders for Rookie of the Year.
And mind you, A.J. Brown had 1,000-yard receiving season on 67 catches this year.
Yeah. The man just goes up, goes downfield, scores touchdowns, and pisses off all of the ops. Like,
this team truly lost one game this year. Yeah. They beat themselves in 2 games with those drop passes.
Yeah.
They lost one game.
Don't forget, we lost that game against Washington just so we could say screw you to the goddamn Cowboys and knock them out of playoff contention, ruin their season, and then so we could win the NFC East on home turf. It was calculated.
This team has the ability to etch themselves in franchise history as the greatest Eagles team to ever play a season in Philadelphia.
Yes, but they got to get it done.
Correct. And it starts on Sunday against the Packers. And guess what? Jalen Hurts is going to be back, but you know who's kind of sketchy, and I don't know if he's playing. I don't know if a lot of people know if he's playing. I don't know if he knows if he's playing. Jordan Love.
Yeah, and that's an issue.
Did you see the report today?
No, I didn't.
So he had a sleeve on his arm. Then the team closed practice during the throwing portion of practice.
Huh.
To which then there is a quote from Jordan Love today saying he hopes to play this weekend. And Packers quarterback Jordan Love elbow is taking part in warmups, but team is making sure media doesn't see whether he can throw by closing practice after the team stretch. Usually get to see individual drills, and I don't know. Saying in the official Packers account tweeting Jordan Love limited in practice, hopeful to play Sunday.
Okay, so they're already without Christian Watson, which negates their receiving room. Like, first of all, he was getting locked down. He was getting thrown in Quinyanamo Bay anyway. But who are they going to have to throw out our secondary? Dobbs? If him?
If Jordan Love does not play in this game and we're playing Malik Willis,
it's over.
The Eagles are winning by 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Josh Jacobs can do anything he can possibly think of. He ain't getting by our defensive line. That ain't no issue. The receiving core, injured to hell and back. Saquon's about to cook their defense. They got exposed against the Vikings 2 weeks ago. They got beat by the Bears. The Bears. How bad of a team do you have to be to lose to the Bears? So, no, I'm not worried about this week. In fact, I'm not worried for most of the playoffs. Not going.
I also love this move here today. Did you see the move the Eagles made today?
What'd they do?
They signed defensive back Lewis Seen to the active roster and have opened the practice window for Byron Young. And yes, that's the Lewis Seen that played at Georgia, that is friends with all the Philly dogs, who also was drafted by the Minnesota Vikings and played for the Vikings for the early parts of this season and knows a certain team called the Green Bay Packers pretty darn well.
Yeah, I like that. He's in practice just being like, hey, this is what they do when they line up like this. You see them line up like this, do this. And just scheming. He's cooking with Vic Fangio right now.
He signed to the active roster, and he's a guy that I'm pretty sure was he was a former first-round pick in the 2022 NFL draft.
Oh, all right.
And was released by the Vikings in August of this year, signed to the Bills practice squad, and then we signed him today off the Bills practice squad.
Yeah, that's a great move. Great move.
Like, he's friends with Keely Ringo. He's friends with Nakobe. He's friends with Jalen Carter. He's friends with Jordan Davis.
Oh, the chemistry. I mean, the chemistry was already off the charts, but now it's gone through the roof. You know,
he has a quote saying it feels like a reunion.
Those boys from Athens are about to have themselves a night.
I am thrilled about it. Like, you just got a former first-round pick. Like, sure, has it not really worked out? But
he's still a former first-round pick.
Like, he's 25.
Yeah, young gun. He'll go out there. As a former Viking, he already hates the Packers, so he'll have nothing else but pure malice in his eyes. He'll be hyped up by his college friends, and let me tell you something: there's nothing better than going to war with your college friends, whether that be going to war against a bottle of Jack Daniels or going to war against an opposing team. You're gonna have a good time doing it.
I am just so excited, man. Like, I can't contain my excitement. And like, the big thing is, like,
I don't know what to do with my hands.
Don't know what to do with my hands. And like, Jalen Hurts is back.
Yeah.
And I'm just ready to watch this team cook. And not that I ever want to get too far ahead of myself, but like, looking at the way that the playoff path can go, it's dependent on who wins the other games, obviously. But if Washington beats Tampa Bay, the Eagles will play the winner of Minnesota and LA.
Honestly, I like either of those matchups.
And if Tampa Bay wins, we play Tampa Bay in Philly.
In Philly this time is the big thing, because if it was in Tampa Bay, I'd have pause for concern, because there are boogeymen. They always find a way to beat us in the playoffs at their stadium. I don't think we've seen them at our stadium in the playoffs
in a while.
Long time. Because when they won the Super Bowl in the early 2000s, we played them at their stadium, right? At Raymond James.
So 2002 they closed down the Vet.
Yeah.
When they won the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
With Rondé Barber.
But they haven't played at the Link yet.
Right.
Playoffs, which is a whole, like, the Vet was a different vibe, but that was a different era of Eagles football. That was a Super Bowl-less era.
And my thing too is, like, I never want to root for a division rival to have success in the playoffs. So like, it's tough to, like, especially the way that Commanders fans are the NFL equivalent for us to Braves fans. They're these little pesky gnats who just keep talking and spewing nonsense on the interwebs. And it's like the scene, I forget what show it is, but it's like, I don't even think about you at all. Like,
yeah, Mad Men.
Yes, that is the Eagles fans. We don't think about the Commander. They are like posting all this shit online. It's like, dude, we haven't thought about you in 3 weeks.
Yeah. Like, we genuinely do not care what you have to say, because what have you done in the last 20 years?
And I don't want to see that team have success ever. They're a bunch of rats.
at least with the Braves, they've won a World Series recently.
Right.
And as much as I hate them, that does give them a right to talk a little bit of shit. Absolutely.
And then, like, it would be so poetic because now we've got the local radio station putting polls out. Has Nick Sirianni done enough to keep his job? Do we not realize that we have a playoff game on set? That poll came out today.
Yeah, not only a playoff game, but a home playoff game as the second seed in the NFC.
And we're talking about job security, or does he need playoff success? It would be the ultimate double bird fuck you to every doubter, hater, and incel that talks shit about Nick Sirianni if the Eagles are able to do what we think they're fully capable of doing and beat the Packers on Sunday.
Yep.
Tampa Bay comes here, and then the Eagles run ripshod over that fucking team.
And don't get me wrong, Baker's having a great season. Bucky Irving, potential offensive rookie of the year if there was no Jaden Daniels or Bo Nix. But they ain't stacking up against this Eagles defense.
And you know who can't stop the run? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And
so
that's exactly what Saquon will do. Like that game earlier in the season, that didn't count.
We didn't have Lane Johnson.
We were injured to hell and back.
We had no passing game.
We had no receivers. Like, and Saquon still ran rampant on him. Like, can you imagine a fully healthy Eagles team against the Buccaneers?
I would love that for Nick Sirianni because then he gets revenge for his first year coaching too. Because remember, our first playoff game in the Sirianni era was against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers.
And that was the year that they went on to win the Super Bowl. So
year after. It was Brady's last year.
You're right. Oh,
it was Jalen's first full year starting.
Yes, because the year before was the year they won it.
The COVID year.
And that was the year Carson went to hell.
Yeah. And then last year, obviously, you lose to the Bucs. Both of those games were in Florida.
Yes. And both of those Eagles teams were nowhere near as convincing as this Eagles team.
And I just think, like, the Eagles are the best team in the NFC. If anything, and I said this on Monday's episode, Sunday Night Football between the Vikings and the Lions told me one thing and one thing only. The Eagles are the best team in the NFC.
Yep.
And it's not even close.
And it's not due to lack of trying on the Lions. I think the Lions are a phenomenal team. But if they were fully healthy, they would be the best team in the NFC. Emphasis on fully healthy.
Right.
Which they're nowhere near. Their entire defense is ripped to shreds.
And, like, David Montgomery's going to be back for them, so that's a benefit for them. But, like...
that's not going to help them on defense.
No. And I just think the Eagles, like... it's going to be fascinating on the other side of the bracket who ends up playing the Lions and what happens in the playoffs there. Yeah. But if somehow, some way... the Lions get eliminated, and then the Eagles are the home field in the NFC playoffs.
Because the Vikings are frauds. That was proven without a shadow of a doubt during that Lions-Vikings game. Green Bay, they're injured, and they're fine. They're fine.
I think Green Bay is overhyped based on the name Green Bay Packers. This Green Bay team is not in anybody of note this year.
Yeah. They haven't beat a single team over 500, have they?
I don't believe so. I will fact check that right now.
Yeah, fact check that real quick. But I do not believe they beat a single team over 500 this year.
So the Packers' wins were against the Colts, Titans. The only team I think may have been the Rams. They beat the Rams. They beat the Cardinals. The Cardinals
were under 500.
Under.
I think the Rams were like 9-8, so that's just over.
I think they finished 10-10.
Well, because they lost. Well,
10-7.
Okay,
because they won their division and they were the only team from that division to make the playoffs. So the Rams are 1. They beat the Texans. So I think those might be the two teams, or the Packers and the Texans, or the Rams and the Texans. They beat the Jaguars. They beat the Bears by 1. They beat the 49ers. They beat the Dolphins. They beat the Seahawks, who also finished 10-7 but missed the playoffs.
Yeah.
and then they beat the Bears again. Or they lost to the Bears.
No, they lost to the Bears. The
They
last
beat the Bears by one. So, yeah, the three teams that they beat that were over 500 this year, Seahawks, Texans, and Rams.
Okay.
And they beat the Rams by 5. They beat the Texans by 2, and they beat the Seahawks in a blowout.
And they should have beaten the Texans by more. That Texans team, we're going to get into it later, but a little sneak preview. I think the Chargers are going to whoop them.
Yeah, the Packers do not intimidate me.
No.
They're a formidable opponent. Josh Jacobs is really fucking good.
He's great.
But they're down their best corner. They're down their best receiver, and their quarterback's a question mark right now.
Yeah, this team doesn't scare me. They're going to come into South Philly and really see who the best team in green is in the NFL.
And this is revenge for the Michael Vick year when we lost to the Packers in the playoffs.
Yes, the year that we should have gotten D-Jax and Shady their rings.
Well,
even though Shady did get his rings, but those don't count because they were with teams not in midnight green.
He did say he would trade those rings to have won or to have stayed with the Eagles his whole career, which was pretty cool.
I mean, Shady and Deshaun Jackson are two guys who are Philly through and through, and that's why they will always be beloved in our community because they're just awesome.
Now, the other thing with this game, too, is it opened at 3.5, the Eagles being 3.5-point favorites. And not that we're a huge gambling show, but Harrison and I dabble. We know the boards. It's since jumped up to 5.5 last I checked, which to me was just like Vegas saying, oh, Jalen Hurts is going to get cleared this week. And also saying, oh, Jordan Love got injured and their best receiver's out.
Yeah.
We forgot to account for that in the early line. But I think a lot of the movement was simply that Jalen Hurts was going to be legally cleared from the concussion protocol this week.
Yep. And that definitely was what it was. I wish I had taken it at 3.5 because 3.5 was an absolute lock. But since I'm going to be back in Indiana for the game,
4.5. 4.5 is now the line. So
since I'm going to be back in Indiana for the game, if I had placed the bet in New Jersey, I wouldn't have been able to see that money until I got back. So, yeah,
true. I just think the Eagles are the better team, top to bottom, especially on defense.
It's just such a good, well-rounded team. There isn't an area that really sticks out to me as below average. Not even bad, just below average. Because our offensive line. Start with the offensive line.
Yeah, let's go. Let's tip the scales. Or imagine an imaginary scale. We're dropping stones on each side of the scale. Start offensive line. Eagles
by a mile. Then
we'll go quarterback.
Eagles. Jalen Hurts is better than Jordan Love. Not to say that Jordan Love is a bad quarterback,
right?
But he's not at Jalen's level yet. He could be, but not yet.
We'll go running back.
Saquon by a mile. Yeah, you got Josh Jacobs, great running back, one of the best in the league.
Top 6 running back this year, hands down.
You got the number 1 running back in the league on the other side. That's an easy that's a no-brainer.
Wide receivers.
I mean, even if they weren't injured to hell and back, I'd take the Eagles wide receivers because you got A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, the number 1 receiver, and someone who'd be a number 1 receiver on any other team in the league if he wasn't on the Eagles.
Tight end.
Who's the tight end for the Packers?
Tucker Kraft and Luke Musgrave.
They're pretty good. I'm still taking Dallas Goedert and Grant Calcaterra over them.
We will go to the defense. We'll go defensive line.
Eagles. It's the Georgia Bulldog line.
Now, I will say, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, very talented players, very good players. But our offensive line is going to neutralize them to hell.
Yes.
Linebackers.
You got Zach Bond. What, the guy who had the third most tackles in the league this year, and Nakobe Dean, who's having a career year.
Who would have ever thought we'd be sitting here preparing for a playoff game and saying the Eagles have the better linebacker unit?
Not I. But
I'll tell you what, Oren Burks and Jeremiah Trotter Jr. look damn good against the Giants. I know, it's the Giants, but they look good.
Hey, it doesn't matter. That's the future of our core right there. And they learned how to play quick, and they played like dogs. Uh, or I guess a tiger, at least out of one of them.
We'll go strong safety.
Strong safety. Come on now. Come on now. Birds.
Which I want to see how the Eagles have strong safety like listed on the depth
Yeah,
chart.
I'm not entirely sure who we have listed, but like
CJ.
Yeah, CJ GJ coming off one of the greatest games he's ever had before sitting against the Giants. You know he's fired up. I'll take CJ.
Free safety might be the only way I lean Packers because it's Xavier McKinney and he's fucking unbelievable. And that's no slight to Reed Blankenship. Reed Blankenship has been an unbelievable player, but Xavier McKinney is fucking one of the best free safeties in football.
Yeah, he's the reason that the Packers can stay in this game, because if he locks down that secondary, he can fly around, and he's really, really, really good. And again, Reed Blankenship is coming off an injury too, so that's why we'll give the edge to the Packers there. So that's
corners
7. The corners. Come on now. You got the rookie of the year, and oh my God, the big play Slay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and Cooper DeJean in the slot.
Cooper DeJean. Yeah, you got the rookie of the year, big play Slay, and the exciting White. It's easy. That one's easy.
Punter.
I'll give that to the Packers.
I don't know. Like
Braden Mann's been turning around, but
Braden Mann as a whole this season has been very good.
Yes.
I think a lot of the negativity has been on his kickoffs.
Yeah. Well, okay. I'll give it to the Packers solely because I don't think we'll be seeing a lot of Braden Mann in this game.
Fair. I want to see here just the so in terms of average punt distance, Braden Mann ranked 11th in the NFL this season. Dan Whelan or Daniel Whelan, the Packers, he ranked 26th.
Okay, never mind. I'll flip it back. We're going Birds again,
which could also be a huge factor in this game. Number one, just from that distance there, like that could put the Eagles in very good field position, like starting field position, if they force the Packers to punt. Number two, Harrison, did you know that this weekend it's supposed to snow?
Oh,
Saturday there's supposed to be some snow. And I don't know if it's gonna be the type of snow that like sticks around on Sunday because it doesn't look like it's gonna be like that long lasting. But it's gonna be cold on Sunday. And not that the Packers aren't used to the cold.
Well, the Packers are very used to the cold.
But on Sunday, it's going to be a little bit warmer than I thought. Not warm, but it's going to be 37 degrees on Saturday or on Sunday as the high.
Yeah.
And at kickoff at about 4:30, it's going to be 35 degrees. The sun will be set by the time kickoff happens.
But that snow ain't sticking around. Like, if it's 35 degrees, it'll be gone. So, no. That'll be a non-factor. Well, it'll be a factor, but it'll be a factor in the sense that you'll have drunk Eagles fans throwing snowballs at the Packers every chance they get. Because don't forget, we're Santa Claus, and nobody will ever let us live that down.
Then the last one, or one of the last ones here, place kicking. I don't care what anyone says. I'm still going with Jake Elliott.
Yeah, he's had an off year. So what? He didn't kick the opening kickoffs. Or he wasn't the kickoff guy for most of the year, which probably cooled his leg down. And that's the theory I'm going with. So I'll stick with Elliott too.
And I like our kick returners. I like our punt returners. I loved Isaiah Rodgers on the kick return, by the way.
Oh, my God. He was having a day. And Cooper DeJean is a great kick returner too. Yeah.
There's one position group that the Packers are better than the Eagles, and it's free safety, and it's a guy that they brought in free agency this year.
Yeah. No, the Eagles by a million. Don't worry your pretty little heads about it.
Like, I'm so ready to just blast the Rocky music in my living room. I might even blast the mashup of The Mandalorian and Rocky music because that's a banger. But, like, I am just so confident in this team. Like it's
Yes.
a weird thing that like it's weird because like going into the 2023 like Phillies playoff year and like the Eagles in 2022 and like the Phillies in 2022, like I had this like good confidence about the team. Like
Yeah.
nobody was tough. This year for the Phillies playoffs was the first time walking into Citizens Bank Park because if you don't know, you guys should. I have partial season tickets. I get to go to the playoff games. Walking in for my playoff game that I got to watch them win, I just had this weird like nervousness that I've never experienced for the playoffs in this era of these two teams in particular. I don't have an ounce of nerves for this game. I have more like adrenaline for
Yeah.
this game.
Like I, as you said earlier, ready to run through a brick wall.
Like cocky confidence. Like
Yeah.
I'm just ready for us to smack the Packers in the mouth.
The cocky distraught scale that is always brought out during like Flyer seasons, it's broken the scale. It's past cocky.
Like
It
I'm
is
so excited for this
is
team
an
because like I've been talking to a bunch of people and I don't know if you feel the same way, but I think you do. But like this Eagles team has been one of the most fun Eagles teams to root for in my entire existence of being an Eagles fan.
like I can think of two teams that compare to this Eagles team, and they're both Super Bowl teams. Like now, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the '04 team that well. I was 4, sue me. But the 2017 team and the 2022 team feel like they bring the same vibes.
And I don't know if it's because we were kids too, like with that run and then like in '08 and all that.
Oh, dude, don't get me started on '08. I remember when the Cardinals beat us. I sat on the I went to the stairs right over there, sat down, and bawled my goddamn eyes out.
And I think it's different too. It's like we were kids when that happened. It's like a different emotion. Now that
Yeah,
we're adults and like we've experienced like the Phillies going to the World Series again, we've experienced like 3 straight Phillies playoff runs as adults. We've now
yeah.
experienced 4 straight Eagles playoff appearances as adults.
Sixers playoff appearances for the past few years too.
And those don't even touch
They don't.
me
They don't even.
it's just pain. It's always
It's
pain
always
and
pain, but
nothing
you
but
know, you get
pain.
yourself. We're masochists. We are suckers for pain here.
But like with the Eagles, like these playoff runs have been like I'm not even including like 2021 and 2023 because like whatever.
Those don't
But
count.
like in particular, like 2022
Yeah.
and now getting ready for this year feel very similar, but also like it's just like you have like this pride in your team as a young
Yes.
adult where like as a kid you're a fan, like you love it. It's an inheritance that your family gives you to be a fan of those teams, so it's like you are blindly and openly rooting for them because you see the logo, you see the colors
Your
with
hero.
right,
Oh,
like
yeah.
you look up to those players. And not that I still don't look up to these players because I fucking love Brandon Graham with all my heart. I
Yeah.
love Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox and Lane Johnson and like all these guys, but it's also like it's a different
Yes.
level of fandom when you reach like this stage of your life that like you appreciate the greatness
Yeah.
of the guys out there on this team, and it makes it that much more compelling and that much more fun to root for them. And I think it's also, and I was talking to my sister about this when we were talking about the Phillies, I think last year. It might have even been this year. It's different, I think, now because the core members of these teams that are so good in Philadelphia, even with the Sixers, you look at like a Paul George, you look at a Joel Embiid, you look at, you know, the Eagles and a bunch of their guys are in their late 20s, 30s. You look at the Phillies, they're in their late 20s, early 30s.
They're our age.
They're our age.
Yeah.
And it's like you're rooting for your friends in
Yeah.
a sense.
These
Like
are
you
our
may not
peers.
know them, but it's
Yeah.
like they're your peers in age. They've experienced the same life experiences as
Yeah.
a mass that you have experienced. Granted, it's been on different scales. Like they've experienced different life experiences, but like the same like core like life events, you've gone through those at the same time as them, and it makes it that much more fun to root for these guys and to want them to succeed because you're seeing somebody that is in your shoes performing at the highest level that you always aspire to do no matter what field you're in. You want to aspire to compete and be the best at whatever you do. These people are our age doing that, And
Yep.
it makes it that much more cool to root for them because it's like you said, it's your peers, it's your fellow it's your fellow millennials going and succeeding and competing at the highest level, and you just feel a sense of attachment to that.
We all grew up watching like Michael Phelps break the Olympic record in '08. We all saw Usain Bolt do his thing at all those Olympics. We went through COVID around the same age group. Like a bunch of these guys in the NFL right now.
Our whole core memories
Yeah,
are the same.
exactly.
Like, it's crazy.
Like, sure, have we all had different life experiences through, wealth gaps and all that sort of thing, and like, other things like that? Absolutely. But we have all experienced the big things together, and that is what draws us together.
And it's like you appreciate the greatness of these guys, but again, like you get that extra level of connectivity to these players because they're so close in age or are your age.
Yes.
And I think that's what makes it so cool for like our age demo to have the ability to root for a Jalen Hurts, to root for a Lane Johnson, a Saquon Barkley, for, an AJ Brown, a Devontae Smith, a Dallas Goedert on the Phillies, to root for a Bryce Harper, a Nick Castellanos, a Kyle Schwarber, Alec Bowman, Bryson Stott, Zach Wheeler, Aaron Nola, like the list, like Joel Embiid, like
Devontae Smith is barely a year older than me.
Right.
Like, not even. He's like just under a year older than me.
Aaron Nola's 4 months older than me.
Yeah. These are all guys in our age range, and that's crazy to think of. But we've made it to this point in life, and now we just got to root for our dudes who are, if we had lived in the same area, could have been our elementary school friends, could have been our middle school, high school friends.
And I want this Eagles team to just experience the mountaintop. I want them to get that. Yes. I want Jalen Hurts to hold that Lombardi trophy so bad. I want AJ Brown to hold that Lombardi trophy. I want Saquon to hold that Lombardi trophy. I want Lane Johnson to hold it again.
Yes.
I want Brandon Graham to hold it again.
And retire a champion.
I want Nick Sirianni to hold that motherfucker as high as possible and make the stupidest face in all the faces of the haters that will live forever. I just want this team, like, this team is such good vibes, and like the people who have failed to appreciate how fun this team is, I feel bad for you. I genuinely feel bad for you because this team has been so fun to watch. We have come such a long way from the 2-2 start. We have come such a long way from the Cleveland game where everyone's calling for Nick Sirianni's head. We have watched this team just week over week over week get closer, keep the noise out, ignore all of the doubters and the haters, and bounce back from a Super Bowl loss in 2022 where you saw one of the best Super Bowl performances from a quarterback in NFL history in Jalen Hurts, where you saw guys perform to the highest level. And then 2023, you see this epic collapse by this team. And now you've seen them kind of just forget all of that's happened. And knowing that the tunnel vision is there, they're ignoring all of the talking heads and the pundits, and you see a moment that blows up on social media and with AJ Brown's passing quote get taken so misconstrued and out of context, and this team didn't budge one bit.
No.
Like, do you understand how cool that is?
Goldfish memory. That's all they got to have. They put everything that's happened in the past. They've learned, they've grown, and now they're ready to dominate.
Like, this team is so fucking cool.
I love it, man. It's just a likable bunch of guys because they're not only great players, they're good dudes.
I need CJ Gardner-Johnson holding that Lombardi trophy up with a ski mask on.
Oh, yeah. Like, I need Big Dom lifting the Lombardi trophy over his head while flipping the bird to every single one of the Eagles haters. Just inject into my veins.
This team they're so cool, guys. And like, I know that sounds cheesy. That sounds corny to hear from a 31-year-old, like, young adult. But like,
Don't matter. They're cool.
Rooting for this team is so goddamn fun.
Yeah, and no other team in the NFL, except maybe the Lions or the Bills or the Ravens, has this cool factor. And the Bills and the Ravens, it just stems from them having amazing quarterbacks who can carry a team on their back. The Lions, it stems from them just being dogs, and I'll give them that. But the Eagles as a whole, they're just cool.
They're so cool.
They're sick.
Like
I
just love the chemistry that this team has. Like they just have such good vibes about them, and they are not ever broken by any small missteps, small little rumbling. Nothing breaks this team, and they have truly come full circle from that 2-2 start. And if you have not been able to appreciate how awesome this Eagles season has been so far, and you're getting ready to watch them in the playoffs, do a little self-reflection and just realize how fucking awesome this regular season was, and how much fun we had watching this team week over week just bludgeon teams over the head.
Oh, yeah.
Like, in a myriad of ways, they beat teams. And I'm just so pumped and so excited for them to go out and just silence every single hater, from Nick Wright to Emmanuel Acho to Chase Daniel to James Jones to Stephen A. Smith to Shannon Sharp to Dan Orlovsky to all of the talking heads, to every fucking clown, bozo, dipshit asshole that works at the local radio stations.
Yeah.
I can't wait to silence Chuck and Mount Airy, to silence Butch and Manayunk, to silence all of the dumbasses. I just want it so bad for this team.
Shut up the dudes who just crawled out of the Schuylkill River with a half-formed brain.
Literally. I'm just so pumped, man. I'm so pumped. And do you know how awesome it would be to see, I count where he grew up, South Jersey, Eagles lifelong fan Kenny Pickett hold that Lombardi trophy?
Oh, brother. It would make the year. It would make the year. Especially if he's doing it in his high school, like the jersey he grew up wearing in high school. Like, throw him in a Brian Westbrook jersey or a Donovan McNabb jersey, like a D-Jax or a Shady, someone from that era, someone we grew up with.
Like, I just have chills thinking about this team, like, accomplishing the goals that they have set out for one another.
Throw him in a Dave Lakers jersey.
Yes. Like, I fucking love the 2024 Eagles so much.
Yeah.
They're so cool, so fun. They're so likable. And if you have failed to recognize that this year, I genuinely feel bad for you.
Oh, yeah. They're just a dope group who play football pretty damn well, who can go out there and bring a chip to South Philly.
I'm so excited for Sunday, dude. I'm ready to run through a brick wall now. Just talking about the way we were talking about this team right now has me so amped.
I'm ready, man. I'm ready.
I think before we go around the NFL, I want to talk to you guys about our friends over at 47 brand. It's our Eagles breakdown brought to you by 47. Guys, gear up for the NFL playoffs with the Birds, with 47 brand. And genuinely, their gear is second to none. I'm rocking the 47 Eagles hat right now. The vintage look to 47 brand is amazing. We love 47 brand here. Like, I've been rocking 47 brand since I was a teenager. Like, they are truly a nostalgic, lifelong type of brand. And that when you get on board with them and you're wearing their gear, like, you know it's 47. You know you're wearing a 47 brand hat. You know you're wearing a 47 brand, type of shirt or sweatshirt or hoodie. It's truly the most comfortable sports gear in the land. Shop for your favorite sports fan with our friends at 47 brand. Use our link in the description and get free shipping on all orders with our friends at 47 brand. And we thank 47 for being a proud partner of the podcast, and join the 47 family today. Use our link, get free shipping on all orders with our friends at 47 brand. And we are going to go around the NFL after we cut to our awesome interview with new Phillies pitcher, 2024 College World Series champion, Tennessee Volunteer, 8th round MLB draft pick, selection of the Chicago White Sox, Aaron Combs. An awesome conversation. We get into so much, and he's truly a delight. I hope you guys enjoy it. Our interview brought to you by our awesome merch partners at PHI Apparel Company. You want to stand out in the crowd. You want to rep the Birds this playoff season. Shop our awesome merch partners with PHI Apparel Company. Also, check out all of the Underground Sports Philadelphia podcast merch that is available, so you can rep your favorite Philly sports podcast with our official merch from PHI Apparel Company. Plus, we just signed another Georgia Bulldog. Get the Philly Dog shirt that your boy designed that is on their website. phiapparel.co is the place to do it. And when you go to checkout, use code UNDERGROUND at checkout. You will get 10% off your next merch order. That's phiapparel.co, code UNDERGROUND, 10% off your next merch order. Shout out to PHI Apparel Company for being the official merch home of Underground Sports Philadelphia. Our interview also brought to you by our friends over at FOCO. We got to get our boy Aaron Combs into some Phillies overalls, Harrison.
Yes, sir. That would be sick.
He's going to love what FOCO has to offer, and FOCO, the leaders in forever collectibles. Guys, gear up for the Birds. I am so close to pulling trigger, Harrison, on buying the Eagles velour tracksuit for the playoffs. It's not even funny.
I need to ship it.
Hold on, I'm shifting into Big Dom mode with my velour tracksuit ready to rock and roll.
Okay.
Get your velour tracksuits, get your overalls, get your officially licensed Eagles, Phillies, Flyers, Sixers gear. They've got college sports teams. They've got your favorite major four sports teams, WWE bobbleheads. Their bobbleheads are second to none. Use our link in the description. Shop everything FOCO has to offer. And we thank FOCO for being a proud partner of Underground Sports Philadelphia. And now, without any further ado, here is Aaron Combs.
At the Vineland Municipal Utilities, we understand that when our business community thrives, we all win. As a not-for-profit utility, our reliability, lower cost of operations, and flexibility in meeting customer needs make doing business in Vineland beneficial to your bottom line. What's more, we are able to do so while maintaining our commitment to environmental stewardship. We look forward to helping you achieve your business goals now and for years to come. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season.
All right, everybody. Last week's episode, we waxed poetic about our guest who is joining us now. And in the blink of an eye, he's on the show. He's now a friend of the program, and that is 2024 College World Series champion, 8th round MLB draft pick in the 2024 Major League Baseball draft, and new Phillies pitcher, Aaron Combs. Aaron, welcome to the show. Happy to have you as now a guest of the show. And being that you're on the show with us, you're now one of our guys. So welcome to Philly, brother.
Thank you. Yeah, super glad to be here.
First thing, just take me through the process for you of, like, obviously getting drafted last year, winning a College World Series, and then in the blink of an eye, you also get traded. We were talking a little bit before we started recording about just like the whirlwind it's kind of been, but from just an experience standpoint, what has it been like, in less than a calendar year, you go from pitching in college to getting drafted, and now you're on your second franchise in less than a year?
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. I mean, we had a very successful year at Tennessee and then very successful playoffs. I mean, we won the SEC tournament and obviously won the World Series, which was just insane, especially to do it for a school like that. It was just super important to the school and, I mean, the fans and everybody. Everybody showed a lot of support, which was just amazing and unbelievable. Even at the parade, we had like 50, 60,000 people. It was ridiculous. But then, quick turnaround to the draft and immediately get sent out to Arizona. I stayed very ready. I wanted to be sent out immediately. I wanted to keep playing baseball, and they finally sent me out to low A and did pretty good there. Got to pitch in playoffs and made it to the championship. So that was super fun experience. And then getting traded was pretty out of nowhere. I did not expect it at all, but super happy to be a part of this organization. It's pretty unreal.
Yeah, I mean, to go from, the University of Tennessee and the success you guys had in 2024 and seeing what this Phillies organization has been going through over the past couple of years of the successes and, obviously the playoffs the past couple of years haven't been the expectation, but seeing just the year over year success of a franchise like this and such a historic franchise, what excites you about playing for the Philadelphia Phillies?
I mean, really just how the Phillies organization goes about everything. And, you know, year by year, it could fluctuate up and down. You got to be lucky in playoffs. I mean, I saw that in 23. We thought we were better than some teams and we ended up losing. And at JUCO too, I made it to the JUCO World Series and we were by far the best team there and we end up losing after 3 games. It's, things happen. So one way or another, it's pretty unpredictable. But I always like this World Series. Um, I was really trying to be like, anytime there was a storyline or anything, I'm trying to be the anti-storyline. I'm trying to make sure, nothing happens when that kid comes up or whatever it is. So but yeah, being a part of the Phillies and all the great players on the team it's super cool to be a part of and have a chance to try to work my way up and play in Philly with those guys.
Take me through winning a College World Series because I feel like in the Northeast, like we're not accustomed really to the college sports scene. Like college basketball is probably the biggest thing around here, but when it comes to baseball and football, it's not as big, or you kind of latch on to one of the bandwagon type teams, if you will. But
Yeah.
take us through kind of the process of what the College World Series experience is like, and then to kind of come out on top. I mean, the photos of you from the College World Series are immaculate, and just the energy you exude on the mound is so unapologetically Philadelphia. So it's so fitting that you're here. But take us through like what that whole journey and process is like to go through a conference championship like the SEC in baseball, and then to get to the mountaintop and win a College World Series.
Well, I mean, we were already ranked number one going into the SEC tournament, and really our goal was kind of just to get guys innings. Like we did not care about the SEC championship. But then you go into every single game, the whole time you're like, who cares? And then you get in the game, it's like, all right, we're winning this game. So that's how we kind of went about it, and we end up winning a bunch of games and beating LSU. I mean, we had some crazy performances. We had a freshman, Dylan Loy, who through I think 6 or 7 innings, like just insane ball. It was crazy. But getting to that's a super long tournament, and a lot of times people don't want to do good in that tournament because it just takes a toll on you. But I think it only helped us really just give us the confidence, and then going into this regional and super regional. And then again, like the College World Series is a super long tournament. It takes forever, and you get a lot of off days, which is nice. But you're sitting around the hotel just wanting to play more baseball and win some more games. So it was just an unreal experience, and getting to go in 23 gave me some knowledge of what to expect into 24. And I'm glad I got to have a bigger role in the postseason this year. Super exciting. I mean, that's the whole reason I came back is to, win a World Series and play a bigger role. And I had a lot of different roles this year. I mean, I started a few games. I was long relief a lot of games. Some weekends I threw twice, 3 times a week. So, I got to the World Series final and I still don't know what my role is. It's just kind of dependent on whatever happens, and end up using me for long relief game 2, and As soon as game 2 was done, I went up to Vittel and was like, "I'm ready for game 3. Like, don't, no doubt in your mind that I'll be ready." And he was holding on to me in the dugout for a while, and then probably sixth, seventh inning, probably seventh inning, because it felt like a long time. He finally sent me down, and I was just super, hyped up on adrenaline and um, throwing as hard as I ever have, and it was a pretty easy call to put me in. And that's the whole time since day one in Omaha. I was hoping to throw the last pitch, so it was. I was super excited, but trying to stay calm and keep my demeanor while still, being who I am, and it worked out just fine.
What is that kind of just like rush of adrenaline and emotion throwing that final pitch and closing it out and knowing that like, holy shit, this pitch I just threw just won us a title that's going to be etched in history forever.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not, you kind of just black out. You're not really thinking about anything while it happens. But I think the biggest difference between me and 23 and me and 24 is that I was just much better at staying calm and being able to be my best self in those situations instead of kind of, I wouldn't really freak out, but kind of get myself too hyped up and not be able to command the ball or execute or whatever it is, just the to the extent that I need to. So it was unreal. But throwing, what happened, the catcher, my great friend Cal Stark, dropped the last ball. He has no idea where it went. So I'm pissed about that. He's pissed about that. Yeah, I was asking around for a while. Nobody knows where it is.
We gotta check like Fanatics or something and see if it's on one of those auctions.
Umpire probably stole it, and
It's on eBay just floating around somewhere. Somebody's got to get Aaron that ball. We were also talking before we started recording too, with you being a volunteer and seeing Bryce Harper kind of, adopting Tennessee with him moving there a couple years ago, living there in the off season. How cool is it that, the face of the franchise that you're a part of now is also, connecting himself to your alma mater.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, and the point I brought up was how cool it was that how much Philly fits my personality and persona on the mound, and how Tennessee kind of matched with what Bryce would say his persona is. So it's just really cool. And obviously, if a guy like that on the team is, uh, thinking that way, it extends through the system a lot better. The whole team, the whole organization. So it's pretty cool to be a part of that.
And when you look at this Phillies team too, and you just see the success of every level of pitcher, from starters to relievers to guys that get called up, during the season, and just seeing them have success. And we love Caleb Cotham here. We think he's the best. I think he's one of the best, if not the best pitching coach out there. Now that you're going to have an opportunity to get to work with him, in spring training potentially, and pick his brain, what are you most excited about to learn from a guy who's had so much success as a pitching coach at the major league level? And you've seen him kind of, just evolve these pitchers, whether it be, seeing Zach Wheeler come over from the Mets and turn into the best pitcher in baseball, to what Aaron Nola has been able to do, to Ranger Suarez. You see Christopher Sanchez last year, and then you look at the bullpen and just the flamethrowers that are back there. What excites you about being able to kind of pick the brain of Caleb Cotham?
I mean, I'm just starting to learn about him, honestly, and I've learned a lot, and how highly, Philly fans think of him. And I saw an interview with Aaron Nola and just a bunch of different guys. But I mean, it's very exciting to get to work with a guy like that. And I have always studied Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola and some of the other guys. But another thing I like is how not everybody's the same. That a lot of guys have a lot of differences, and it it just shows me that he really cares about working into people's strengths instead of trying to cookie cutter everybody. So that'll be pretty fun to work with, because I feel like I'm a very unique arm.
And when you see, playoff baseball in Philadelphia, and the way that we've kind of just turned Citizens Bank Park into what Jeff Passan said, an SEC football game.
Yeah.
What is that feeling like for you, knowing that you're coming to an organization that brings that, that energy on a Tuesday in May, or, a Thursday in July when it's the dog days of summer, and then, the calendar flips to October and the place is just, an absolute zoo of just 45,000 plus people making it 4 hours of hell, as Rob Thompson once said, for your opponent.
Yeah, no, that's super exciting. That's my favorite thing. Whether it's hostile or not towards me, I mean, I love being a part of that environment. SEC baseball games, just even regular season, you go to LSU, um, 13,000 people, you can't hear anything. I mean, it's pretty crazy. So at Tennessee, you're right up on you, 5, 6, 7,000 people right up on you. No, people come in and they've never heard something that loud. So, I'm excited for, I mean, if that's what you compare it to, that's times 5 or whatever it is. That's pretty exciting for me.
And I mean, for you as a pitcher too, where, you've had a lot of success in relief and you've seen the Phillies kind of find these diamonds in the rough, kind of over the past couple of years. And we said it on the show when we were talking about you. We said, we kind of viewed you as like a Jeff Hoffman or an Orion Kerkering, where like nobody's really talking about Aaron Combs, but he could sneakily like make his way up through the system pretty quickly. And, we saw Ryan Kerkering do it in 2023, where he's just dominating in Double-A, and then he gets called up and he's pitching in the postseason all of a sudden.
Yeah.
To know that, the Phillies as an organization, when they see success, in their system, they're not afraid to, call somebody up and bring you to the major league level. What excites you about that as well, knowing that, your work ethic, you're always, giving it 110%, that at any moment, like, you could get that phone call and you're coming up to Philly.
That's really all I can ask for, I mean, just the opportunity to move up. That's, when I'm talking to people, talking to scouts and everything for the draft, that was one of my, if not my only question, really, is like, if I'm succeeding, and do I get the opportunity to move up? So just hearing that stuff is great to hear, and getting traded for someone like I got traded for is also really cool. That hopefully that means they're going to give me the opportunity. So it's that's all I really ask for. It's I have a lot of confidence in myself, and whether they do or not doesn't really matter to me. It's just if I do well, I just want the opportunity to be able to have something to show for it.
Now, during your draft process, and obviously, if anybody doesn't know, Aaron was with the Chicago White Sox, got drafted by them. Um, during your draft process, were there other teams that, you were talking to throughout the process, and were the Phillies one of those teams at any point, throughout the process that said, "Hey, we're looking at you. We would love to take you." Who were some of the teams, outside of the White Sox who have end up drafting you, that you did have conversations with throughout your draft process?
Well, I think I was about 30 seconds from getting drafted to the Rays, but which would have been cool because I'm from here. But
Which is always a good sign too, because they love their
yeah,
pitchers.
exactly. I did talk to the Phillies. I talked to a couple other teams, and I really think that a lot of the teams that were looking into me were a lot of teams I'd want to go to, because they really take care of their pitchers and really try to develop them. And the Phillies were definitely one of them. I talked to them in Tennessee both years. So that was one of the first things they said to when I got on the phone with them was, we really wanted you in the draft. It just, didn't work out for one reason or another. But, worked out how it did. So I'm glad it did.
And what are those post trade kind of conversations like? Who are you winding up talking to after a deal like that goes through, where it is a guy who ends up getting DFA'd to make room for another trade that happens, and then it just so happens the White Sox like that guy, they're willing to give you up to come here. Who are you talking to from the Philly side of things after a trade goes down, and what are those conversations like?
Well, I actually got to talk to Preston Mattingly, which was awesome. Just a quick introduction to the organization, everything, and talked to a couple other guys. and just kind of getting introduced to the program and everything. And I'm going to spend some time in Clearwater in performance camp to get used to everything, which I'm very excited for because, first of all, it's in Clearwater, which is not in Arizona, which is awesome. So, I'm like 45 minutes away from there, so it's perfect for me.
No plane rides, just a nice little
Yeah,
drive.
it's perfect. Perfect. It's all I can ask for is Florida spring training.
And I
So,
mean,
but yeah.
when you look at the organization to it and you just see the overall just, history of the Phillies too, what excites you about knowing that, spring training rolls around, you're going to put those red pinstripes on, you're going to put that Phillies hat on, you see just the legends that have come through this organization and they've been based in Clearwater forever,
Yeah.
for spring training, and they have their training complex in Florida, and kind of, growing up in Florida too, knowing that the Phillies have always been kind of right around the corner from you as well. What kind of, emotion and thoughts do you have about, once you put that uniform on in spring training?
I mean, it's just a different level of special. It's pretty crazy. Actually, Roy Halladay used to live around here. I think his sons or something were my brother's age, so I saw him around a couple times at tournaments and stuff. So that was always really cool. He coached one of my best friends. So obviously that was a tragic thing that happened, but just it's super cool to be a part of something like this. All the history and just the guys that have rolled through it's really cool to be a part of.
And you look at kind of just your style of pitching, and what can fans kind of expect from you as a pitcher, and the type of pitcher that you are, and kind of just your mantra on the mound once you're out there, pitching away for whichever team you end up on, whether it be, the Blue Claws to start things off and making your way through the ranks, throughout Pennsylvania with the rest of the teams that are affiliates of the Phillies. But what's kind of your pitching style and kind of just your energy when you're out there on the mound?
Well, I'm super high energy, very intense on the mound. I like to be the attacker. I'm never on my heels. Whatever the situation is, I'm making sure that it doesn't get any worse, and that I'm the one in charge. So that's kind of where I go from a mentality perspective. But I don't throw the hardest, which is something I've worked on for a while. I'm usually 92, 94, been up to a 6. Um, but I have 4 pitches. I can throw them all well. The curveball, which is nicknamed the Gabagool, that's definitely my best pitch. Gonna see a lot of those for sure. But yeah, that's a basic
Which the
run.
South Philly Italians are going to eat that up.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of the gabagool, the response tweet to somebody commenting on the video you posted on Twitter, which love that. I love whenever an athlete, goes to a new city and is like, hey, like I'm working, I'm ready to go. And that's the tweet that like kind of, puts you on my radar to reach out to you to get you on the show. Your response was ghost batter, never seen a gabagool like that one, 3-pitch K. I was like, as if this guy wasn't already just an absolute demon on the mound. Philadelphia's going to love that type of energy.
For
And
sure.
I think just your type of emotion is what's beloved here. And I think, when that call eventually happens for you to get called up to pitch at Citizens Bank Park, everyone's going to be behind you 110% just by the demeanor you bring and the poise that you have on the mound. But also, like you said, you're an attacker and you bring that energy every single outing that you have. That's what Phillies fans love.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that it was just playing around with that guy, but yeah, that's definitely my personality. Just going out there and just doing whatever I can. But yeah, that was just a funny. I did not expect it to get that much traction or anything.
It was amazing. Um, you know, looking at your pitching style, are there any, pitchers growing up that you tried to model your game after, or kind of, influence the way that you kind of approach yourself on the mound?
For sure. And I think the biggest guy I've always looked up to was Jacob DeGrom, just because, he's one of the best ever. I mean, just a pure pitcher, and the way he did it was really cool. But I mean, not even just saying this, like I've always looked up to Aaron Nola, and Zach Wheeler. I mean, both guys, starting with the Mets, is Wheeler. And I think he probably took a lot of things from DeGrom too. I'm sure they bounced off a lot of ideas, but Aaron Nola has always been somebody. I feel like we kind of have a similar arsenal too with how he throws his curveball and fastballs. But yeah, I mean, something I saw with how Caleb Cotham works and Zach Wheeler is all the different pitches that they throw. So maybe that's something we work on. I've never really been able to throw a two-seam or something. So that's something that it seems like almost all the starters throw. I know I'm already a reliever with 4 pitches, so maybe they do or don't mess with me. But
Which, like, in
that's
today's game, like, I feel like that's so rare for a reliever, especially of like your caliber, where like you're coming in late innings a ton. Like, normally it's like, oh yeah, I have 2 pitches. I got a fastball, I got a slider, and that's all I'm really working with.
yeah,
Like, to feel confident in 4 pitches as a reliever, um, I think has to be pretty cool for you as well, knowing that like at any moment, like, hey, I got this in my bag and I'm going to use it to get you out.
for sure. And that in the off season and in the fall, like at Tennessee, I would tell all my catchers, just I want to throw all 4 pitches in every single count. Like I just randomize it basically, and that really got me able to be confident with all those pitches in different counts. Even if at first it didn't really work out, but fastball, curveball, cutter, changeup, I'm confident to throw it in any count. Mostly I'm fastball, curveball. Like that's just my best 2 pitches by far, but it's always in the back of the hitter's mind when you got 4 pitches and could drop in a cutter that just gets off the fastball a little bit, or the changeup, same thing. It's something I've been working on for a while, and feel like I'd finally kind of perfected those 4.
And knowing that, a pitcher's best friend is the catcher, seeing the catchers that are here in Philadelphia has to have you pretty excited.
For sure, that was one of the first things I told my friend, who's a huge JT Realmuto fan, was that's a guy I could throw to one day. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, looking at just like the 3 guys who had playing time last year between JT, Garrett Stubbs, and Rafael Marchand, like those guys are, some of the best in the game. And like Marchand's like barely playing because, whether he was dealing with injury or, coming up when JT was out, like kind of having limited play time, but still seeing what he was able to do was super impressive. And then I think Garrett Stubbs is one of the most underappreciated like backup catchers in the game.
For sure. For sure.
Uh, who are you most excited to meet on this team, teammate wise, and kind of get to know, whether it be, from a baseball perspective or just, person to person perspective, and kind of, just pick their brain and get to know them?
I mean, first of all, like I have a lot of friends of friends that seem like great guys that I'm ready to meet once. Either I don't know if they're gonna be in performance camp or just spring training or what, but at the top, it'll be pretty cool to meet Bryce and get to talk to him about Tennessee. I mean, I think he has somewhat of a relationship with Vitello, and he's always an interesting guy to talk about. So that'll be pretty cool.
And, you look at just the roster in general for the Phillies at the major league level, and then you look at the way that Dave Dombrowski has kind of gone against the narrative that's been built out for him, where, he trades away prospects to build the major league roster, win a World Series, and then goes to a new team. He's kind of done the complete opposite of what his mantra has been, and has built out the major league roster. A lot of guys coming in through free agency, and then you go and get, a farm system built up, and the Phillies, from AAA to AA to single A, like there's guys at every level that are performing. What excites you about, starting off, whether it be, with Jersey Shore, which I think the Phillies on the website have you listed at right now, as kind of just the parallel of where you were with the White Sox, to, moving up the ranks and just seeing all the talented players that are in the Phillies system. And then obviously the big league club just littered with major league talent and superstars.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely very exciting to see someone kind of obviously bring in all the talent, spend money. I mean, every player wants to see owners and manager, whatever it is, spend money. So, um, so also getting a lot of prospects and everything is super important, and that means they're gonna take care of me and obviously give me the opportunity and everything. So it's pretty cool. It's like it feels like the perfect fit.
And knowing, we talked about the just history of this team and everything, and knowing that a guy like Cole Hamels is going to be in spring training this year and being around the team, and knowing what he means to this franchise, and just knowing how great of a career he had. And also, if he ends up making the team, Roger Clemens is around this team quite a bit too, with Cody being here.
Yeah.
What excites you about, guys of the past like that, like a Cole Hamels, like a Roger Clemens, just being kind of at your disposal?
Yeah, I mean, that's just some knowledge that you can't really get from anywhere else. At Same thing with Tennessee. We brought in there's a lot of connections, whether that's from Frank Anderson or Vitello or whoever it is. I learned a lot from a lot of those guys, and just getting more and more of that information. It's usually those guys. It's a lot of mentality stuff, and I think that's really helped me a lot. Just it's some intangible stuff that really just takes you to the next level, I think. So those are some things that hopefully I get to pick their brains about, and just get to talk to them, and just being their presence is a pretty cool thing. Actually, Frank Anderson, our pitching coach, coached Clemens at Texas a long time ago. So that's a pretty cool connection too to have.
That is pretty sick. It comes full circle sometimes in
Yeah.
baseball. I do know you're gonna have quite a few friends in terms of the music game. Looking at your Tennessee profile and some of your favorite artists, there's a lot of Phillies pitchers who are big Kid Cudi fans on this roster.
Yeah.
So, is Kid Cudi kind of the de facto walkout music for you, or is it is
No,
it
it's
something else?
actually almost the opposite. I love
Okay,
Kid Cudi. He's like always my number one artist on Spotify every year, but um I listen to a lot of rock and metal, and Blind by Korn is my walkout song, if you know that.
okay.
Very intense. So, that's how I like to pitch. I but yeah, I listen to Korn and just all those guys. I listen to a lot of Deftones, and just have been listening to Gojira recently, which is very good. So
We
I
love a
like all that.
diverse music range.
Yeah,
I'm a
yeah.
big music
I
guy,
listen to
and I listen to a
everything.
little bit of everything.
Yeah, I listen to everything.
And I know you and Brandon Marsh will definitely be bonding over Lil Uzi Vert for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
um, and then I do find it funny because I think a lot of people would look at Kid Cudi, Lil Uzi Vert, and Rage Against the Machine's also listed on your bio
Yeah.
as that one's kind of out of left field, no pun intended there. But like Rage Against the Machine has a lot in common with like Kid Cudi and Lil Uzi Vert if you think about it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I think Kid Cudi for sure, but I um I think one of my favorite athletes of all time is Dennis Rodman. Think that kind of fits the same, you know, just thing, just the whole um, persona with all that stuff. So it's not really. I'm not really attached to one thing or another. So I just go with whatever I like at that. I'm super into reggae too. Literally everything.
Music's great. I mean, music makes the world go round.
Yeah.
That's my catchphrase. Um, Coming to a city like Philadelphia and seeing the success over the past couple years too, of all the sports teams, and seeing the Eagles right now getting ready for a postseason run, and just the sports culture that is in Philadelphia. What excites you about a city like Philly, and being able to kind of etch yourself into the sports stratosphere that is such a diverse yet like intense sports city?
It's super cool. Sorry, my cat is on my back right now.
Secret appearance.
um, It's super cool. I mean, I actually compare it a lot to Tennessee. It's just at a much bigger scale. Knoxville is just like all the sports. Every sport at Tennessee is really good, but um, Philadelphia is just same thing at a much bigger scale, and that's super cool to be a part of. Where baseball isn't the only sport they care about, or football isn't the only sport they care about. That's a huge thing with like going to college. Like, um, you go to a school that it's a football school, nobody cares about baseball. It's like, kind of takes away from it. But it's just something that's really important to players, and getting to have connections with all the other sports. Um, it's I'm not eating at the same cafeteria like I was in at Tennessee, but it's still get to interact with those players will be pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that's been the coolest part about kind of the past, I'd say like 5 years here with all the teams kind of like coming into their own is like you'll have the Flyers playing a regular season game and then out of nowhere like 10 of the guys are coming across the street and they're sitting in the stands watching a Phillies playoff game, or the Eagles are doing their thing, and then they go across and they're watching the Sixers play basketball game. And the interconnectivity of all the teams over the past couple of years and them all kind of just like integrating with one another and supporting one another, I think has only elevated like the culture of the sports ecosystem here, which I think has been super fun to watch, because I feel like growing up around here and being a Philly sports fan, it was rare you'd see, other teams kind of go into other games and interacting with people. But when you see a 7'2" Joel Embiid walking through the stands of Citizens Bank Park and watching the Phillies hit a walk-off against the Astros, and he's as excited as can be, is one of the coolest things of just like this era of Philly sports athletes.
For sure, it's super cool to see how important it is to not only all the players but all the ownership and everything, to like that they really care about all the sports, and um, it just makes it a lot more important to the players and the fans and everybody, and it makes it a lot easier to play for teams like that. It just shows how special it is to the whole city, not only team by team. So that's really cool.
Well, I got to say, Aaron, we are stoked to have you as a member of the Phillies organization. I was talking about it to a couple of people. I was like, I might have to make my way to Jersey Shore this year and go watch the homie pitch a little bit. So I will definitely be planning some trips to Jersey Shore to come watch you pitch. Wishing you the best of luck spring training and development camp and everything, and looking forward to watching you grow in this organization. Hopefully, one day watching you pitch on that mound at Citizens Bank Park, man.
For sure. I hope you get to come over. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to plan something. I'll definitely make my way. It's not that far for me. It's probably like an hour. So like I'll definitely be having to come out and watch you pitch, because you're a friend of the pod now.
Yeah, exactly. Perfect.
Definitely won't be the last time you have you on too. So definitely get used to Aaron Combs on the show, everybody. So best of luck. Looking forward to spring training. It's crazy. That's a month away.
For real. For real.
But let's go get it, man. Looking forward
Yes,
to
sir.
seeing you on that mound.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Shout out to the boy, Aaron Combs, for joining us on the show. Truly a delight. Harrison, I can't wait for you to hear the interview. He's truly the man, and I'm pumped. Like, we're going to be making our way to some Jersey Shore Blue Claws games this summer. I'm already getting the wheels in motion, trying to figure out what we can do. Maybe do a little live pod action at a Jersey Shore Blue Claws game. Who knows? The possibilities are endless, but Aaron Combs is truly a delight, and I hope you guys really see like how awesome he is and how much he's going to rock in Philadelphia. When you have a nickname pitch called the Gabagool, you're born to pitch here.
Elite. And it ties into something we recorded earlier, which check out our other show here, Streamer Season.
Yes, I can't miss. But Harrison, shall we go around the NFL?
Let's go around the NFL.
The NFL playoffs are here, and guess what, guys? The NFL playoffs are streaming on Paramount Plus. Don't miss out on all the action coming to Paramount Plus, CBS Live this NFL postseason, including the Nickelodeon game, including the AFC Championship game. 2 games on CBS and Paramount Plus this weekend. The Chargers at the Texans, and then the Broncos at the Bills. Catch them on Paramount Plus. Use our link in the description to sign up for Paramount Plus today, so you don't miss out on any of the NFL postseason action, including the AFC Championship game. Get started. Use our link in the description and sign up for Paramount Plus today. Playoffs are going to be wild, Harrison. Playoffs are going to be wild.
When are they? When are they not?
I love the way that the matchups have kind of shaken out. Which games are you most looking forward to outside of obviously Eagles and Packers?
No, I'm looking forward to the Texans and the Chargers. I really like this Chargers team, and it doesn't just have to do with the fact that my little brother goes to Oregon. Justin Herbert, obviously an Oregon alum, so I'm excited to see him in his playoff debut. You can never overlook an AFC North showdown between the Steelers and the Ravens. That's going to be a barn burner. Honestly, Bills and Broncos, the entire AFC wildcard slate is
insane.
It's going to be insane. Obviously, the Eagles game is the one I'm looking forward to the most. There aren't many I'm really looking forward to on the NFC side of things. I think those games, they're going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be risky. Nah. But the AFC, all of these are banger after banger after banger. We get to see one of the best rookies in the NFL. Well, on both sides of the conference split, we've got Bo Nix in the AFC. Jaden Daniels, as much as I hate to admit it, he's had a hell of a season. Got to give it up for the Rook. But I think that Buffalo and Denver game is going to be a lot closer than people think. I think Buffalo's going to come out on top, but it's going to be a close fight.
Yeah, so Saturday we get Chargers-Texans at 4:30 on CBS and Paramount Plus, and then the nightcap, Steelers-Ravens on Amazon Prime. First playoff game on Prime. And then Sunday, 1 o'clock is Denver and Buffalo. 4:30 is Eagles-Packers. Sunday night is Washington and Tampa Bay. And then Monday is Vikings-Rams.
Yep.
I think I genuinely think the lights are going to be too bright for Washington. And that's not me being a hater. That's me being this Buccaneers team has playoff experience.
Yep.
This Buccaneers coaching staff has Super Bowl experience.
Yep.
And I just think the Buccaneers have a way better overall team than Washington.
I agree. And again, I gave Jane Daniels his laurels a few moments ago, but he's also a rookie at the same time. It's rare to see a rookie succeed so early on in the playoffs. And last year with CJ Stroud, that was a fluke. He was just getting his legs under him. And they played the Browns?
Yes.
It's the Browns. Of course they were going to shit the bed. It's Cleveland. What did you expect? Now, put a rookie in a playoff game against an actual team, and I think Jaden's going to have a fine game. Don't get me wrong. I think he's going to play really well, but they ain't winning. Especially when you got Mike Evans slotted up against Marshawn Lattimore. That's going to be a battle for the ages.
That's if Marshawn Lattimore can stay healthy.
Yes. And, stay on the field and not try to fight each other.
Yeah, and we'll see if Frankie Louvu tries to, headhunt some more, because that's all he fucking does. I also said this. I meant to bring this up earlier. The tired take is Jalen Hurts has been in the concussion protocol for almost 3 weeks. The wired take is Jalen Hurts has been in the concussion protocol for 3 weeks, and Frankie Louvu, who's the one that headhunted him and hit him helmet to helmet, did not get a flag thrown on that and did not get a fine whatsoever.
Wired take right there.
How did he not get fined?
Especially in this era of the NFL when they're protecting their quarterbacks. Mahomes, more than anything else, they should be protecting Jalen Hurts. You at least throw the flag. You at least fine him $10,000. $10,000. Nothing crazy. Don't take his whole paycheck, but take a little bit out of it. Like, come on now.
Insane. I think LA and the Vikings can either be a shootout or an absolute stinker.
Yeah. And if it's a stinker, the Rams come out on top. If it's a shootout, the Vikings come out on top.
I think Chargers, I'm with you. I like them in this game.
Yeah.
I want to pull up some of the odds here just for everyone at home.
I think Justin Herbert's going to have a generational game this week.
Dude, I might have to hammer the Chargers.
I think you should. I'd hammer Justin Herbert over 250.
The Chargers are only 2.5-point favorites.
Oh, smash that. Smash that.
At minus 120. I also might have to hammer the Steelers.
Ooh, what's their line?
They're plus 9.5.
Okay, yeah, they're gonna lose, but they're not gonna lose by 9.5. And again, it's an AFC it's a conference showdown or division showdown. They're gonna be
Saturday. It's supposed to snow around here. If it snows,
ooh, and the Ravens choke in the playoffs.
That's a fascinating one. Broncos, Bills. Bills are 8.5-point favorites.
I take the Broncos spread, but the Bills are going to win that game.
Packers, Eagles is 4.5, like you mentioned earlier.
Hammering the Eagles spread. Cowards. No, we're hammering the Eagles money line because we ain't no cowards.
I might have to parlay the Chargers and the Buccaneers, actually.
I like that. What's the Bucs line?
The Bucs are only 3-point favorites.
Oh, yeah. No, I think the Bucs are going to win by 7. It's going to be
How are the Bucs only 3-point favorites?
It's because people are high on Jaden Daniels right now.
The Rams are home dogs.
That makes sense. Like, people are high on the Vikings right now because they're 14-3, tied for
They're
second.
home dogs after that Vikings performance against the Lions.
The Rams also lost. Don't forget that. They lost to the Seahawks.
Yeah, but they didn't play. Jimmy Garoppolo played.
That's fair. Oh, my God. I forgot Jimmy G was on the Rams, and he just showed up and
they almost beat the Seahawks.
Yeah. Jimmy G pulling out a prime Jimmy G.
Oh, man.
And I'm not to knock Sam Darnold because it's clear that the Jets were the problem and he's actually a pretty good quarterback. This is his first ever playoff game. Meanwhile, you got Super Bowl champion Matt Stafford on the other side of that ball. I'm taking the Rams. I don't care if they're dogs. I'm taking the Rams.
I also kind of feel like the under in the Steelers-Ravens game might hit.
Especially if it's snowing?
43.5 is the over-under.
Dude, I could see this being a 20-13 game.
Chargers minus 2.5, Bucks minus 3, Steelers-Ravens under 43.5. $10 pays $65.42.
Yeah, I like that. A little bit of a sidebar real quick, but the Eagles have 2 people on the first team All-Pro.
Yes.
Jalen Carter and obviously the rushing leader, Saquon Barkley.
How Jordan Mailata and Zach Bond did not get that is beyond my wildest thoughts.
I couldn't tell you. They hate us because they ain't us.
I am fascinated. So here's how it all plays out too. If the Bucks win, that's who the Eagles play. Yep. If the Eagles do what we all expect them to do. Yep. If Washington wins, then the Eagles play the winner of LA and Minnesota.
Neither of those teams scare me. Like we handled,
and then those teams would come here, obviously.
Yeah, we handled business against LA earlier in the year in LA. We can handle business against them at home. The Vikings do not threaten me in the least.
No.
And again, not a knock on Sam Darnold because he's a damn fine quarterback. Justin Jefferson, one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. But they got exposed against the Lions the other week, and I ain't scared.
Yeah, I genuinely think like their offense very good. Their defense is significantly overrated.
I'm gonna pull out a good old quote that we haven't thought about in a minute. A good old Mike Scott Hive quote here. We ain't no bitch. We ain't
You
no
know,
bitch.
but you see the Mike Scott box
Oh
right
yeah,
there, right
I,
behind
I
me.
got I got my headband somewhere in
Shout
Indiana.
out to the boy.
The goat, the cult icon in Philadelphia.
I also am looking at the AFC side. So if the Bills do what we all expect the Bills to do, they advance.
What they
And
should.
then if the Ravens win, they will play Buffalo. And
Whew.
then that will be a doozy. If the Steelers win, the Bills will play the winner of Chargers Texans.
You see, first of all, give me that Bills Ravens game. I need that, right? But then give me the Chargers and Chiefs because I think the Chargers are frisky enough to beat the Chiefs. I genuinely think they're frisky enough to beat the Chiefs.
Which would be wild.
It would be incredible. I think I'd watch that game 5 times the next day.
This playoffs is going to be one of the wildest playoffs we've had in a long time.
Absolutely. There ain't no predicting anything except for one thing. That Jalen Hurts, Jeffrey Lurie, and Nick Sirianni will be hoisting that Lombardi trophy at the end of the run.
From your lips to the sports god's ears.
Amen.
I'm so fucking confident in this team. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, we've broken past cocky to full dickhead in this.
And I'm not even like being smug about it. It's just like looking at all the other teams in the playoffs, like the Eagles beat the Rams. They blew the doors off the Rams.
Yep.
They beat Washington when fully healthy.
Yep.
They lost to Tampa Bay, not fully healthy. They beat Green Bay in a different country, in a different time zone, in a different hemisphere.
In the first week of the season when everybody's still getting their legs under them.
They beat the Steelers. They beat the Ravens. They beat the Bills last year.
They beat the Chiefs last year.
Like,
we can handle business against every single one of these teams.
I am just...
Didn't we beat the Broncos last year too? I mean,
it was either last year or 2022.
Yeah. And that was an entirely different team, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But it still counts. We beat them. It was the Broncos. Did they have orange on their jersey? Did they have navy blue on their jersey? It's the Broncos.
I just genuinely, top to bottom, looking at the bracket right now and looking at the teams that are in the playoffs, the Eagles have the best roster top to bottom right now.
Yeah. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I am so pumped.
Man, we're ready.
We are going to end this episode with a pump up speech from yours truly. We're going to do it every week. So here's nothing. Here we are, flying high into the playoffs yet again. The number 2 seed, a home game at Lincoln Financial Field in a rematch against a team that we played in a different country to start the year on a Friday night in September. The Packers come to town in a rematch of the first championship that the Eagles ever won. They beat the Packers. It's a rivalry in terms of postseason action. We've seen this team a bunch. But here's the thing, everybody. This Eagles team is different this year. They're not the 1 seed, but that's okay. They've got the talent. They've got the players. They've got... You're going to call me crazy. They've got the coach to get the job done. This team has proven week over week that they could be etched in history as the best Eagles team in franchise history. It's time to put the regular season to bed. It's a brand new season. We're 0-0. Brand new slate. And the Packers are first on the schedule again. 3 games to glory is all the Eagles need. To get to the Super Bowl, to get Jalen Hurts back on the big stage, to get this number 1 defense in the limelight. It all starts on Sunday. It's time to silence the haters. It's time for Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, this unbelievable offensive line, Dallas Goedert, and the number one defense in the NFL to put on a show. 4:30 Sunday, Lincoln Financial Field, Packers Eagles. Let's give them hell. Let's give them hell. If you're going to Lincoln Financial Field on Sunday, there's no time for quiet. Be loud, respectful, but rowdy, rambunctious, and make it so that nobody can hear a goddamn thing. I can't wait, dude. I can't wait for Sunday.
Perfect speech. Absolutely agree with the sentiment. Let the players be the disrespectful ones. Let them run their mouths. Let them hit these motherfuckers as hard as they can. And we're going to be right behind them the whole way. Go Birds, baby.
Go Birds. Let's fucking go.
Win.
Some tells me if there's a win, we're going to be hearing from a first-time, long-time friend of the program known as Delco Danny on the voicemail line. But make sure you guys are following us on the socials at Underground PHI. I know we didn't talk Sixers, Flyers, and Wings on this episode. It's the postseason, baby.
Only one thing on our minds right now.
Follow us on the socials. Subscribe to the pod. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Let's get to 1,000 subscribers. Let's make that happen. Shout out to Aaron Combs for hopping on the show this week. And, of course, guys, this show is presented by the city of Vineland. And whether you're a company looking to expand, relocate, or you're a new business startup, selecting the right location is critical to your success. Vineland, New Jersey offers both an affordable business location and an excellent quality of life. The city's economic development department is a one-stop source for moving your project through the development and approval process, and their goal is to make this process as smooth as possible and to provide the fastest turnaround times in the region. If you're considering potential locations for your operation, contact the Vineland Economic Development Team at 856-794-4100. That's 856-794-4100. Vineland, New Jersey, where it's always growing season. And big thank you to Security 21 Security Systems and Paul J. Gillespie Incorporated for their continued support of this podcast. It's been episode number 706, an Eagles postseason preview pod of Underground Sports Philadelphia. For Aaron Combs, for Harrison, I'm your boy KB. I'll talk to you guys on Monday. And hopefully we're talking about a postseason victory Monday. But until then, we're getting the heck up out of here. We're signing off. And as they always say, go Birds!